Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Madison. My name is Paul Hoffman and I'm the club president. It's so good to see everybody here this week. Thanks for coming out. We've got a special spelling bee winners and their guests here today with us. So welcome to the spelling bee winners. We'll be giving them some stuff, but it's so nice to have you guys here. And we'll open up our meeting by reciting our four-way test together of what we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Great, thank you for that. And please remain standing for our opening patriotic song. Robert Reed will lead us in singing My Country 'Tis of Thee with Elaine Mishler on the keyboard. Robert?
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Elaine. Appreciate that very much. And now, our guests are going to be introduced by Susie Drazen. Susie? Oh, there we go. Hi, Susie. I was going to say, I thought I saw you someplace here.
Thank you, President Paul. I'm Susie Drazen, a proud member of Madison Rotary. We welcome our guests today. I will ask them to stand as they are able at their place when I call names. Please hold your applause until all of our guests have been introduced. We welcome Jessica Ace, guest of Scott Hummerson, Aaron Colello, guest of the Veterans Fellowship Group, Angela Hawkins, guest of Dave Fleury Simmons, Sharon Hoffman, guest of Paul Hoffman, Sarah Marty, guest of Emily Grunwald, Daniel Sims, guest of Ken Yuska, Janice Redford, guest of Diane Everson, and we have some visiting Rotarians to welcome today. Eliana Borges, visiting Rotarian from Brazil, and her daughter, Marcella Tomei, Margaret Pearson, visiting Rotarian from Lebanon, Illinois, guest of Becky Steinhoff, and Tom Mihalski, visiting Rotarian from Elmbrook, Wisconsin. Welcome all of you and thank you for joining us. And on a personal note, welcome to our spellers and their families. We're so happy you're here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Susie. All right, today my number is the number 15. And this number represents the number of members of our club who are serving as trustees of our Madison Rotary Foundation, and we appreciate their service. Today is our foundation's annual meeting, and I'll now call on Valerie Rank, Vice President of our Madison Rotary Foundation this year, who will tell us more about the annual meeting of the foundation. Valerie? Welcome.
Again, I'm Valerie Rank, Vice President of our club's associated Madison Rotary Foundation. And I'm filling again for Doug Dittman, who is unable to be here. As provided in our foundation bylaws, today we hold the annual meeting of the Madison Rotary Foundation. We've announced the names of 3 new trustee nominations in our foundation, for our foundation. In a minute, I will call for the election of these 3 new trustees. But first, I'd like to introduce the members who currently serve on the Madison Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees with me. Please stand if you're here today. Brian Baskin, Dawn Krim, Doug Dittman, Mike Gotzler, Teresa Holmes, Shani Jeffress, Will Larkin, Joe Lanus, Anita Mohammed, Oscar Morales, Sandy Morales, and Jeff Tews. Thank you. In addition to immediate past club presidents automatically serve a 2-year term on the trustees, Andrea Kaminsky is completing the unexpired term of George Hidalgo since he moved to North Carolina, and Teresa Holmes also serves this year. Joe McNeil serves as treasurer, Dave Duco as assistant treasurer, and Pat Jenkins as secretary. Our thanks to these trustees and officers for their service. We'll now move to calling the annual meeting of the Madison Rotary Foundation to order. The purpose of today's meeting is to call for the election of 3 new trustees. The nominees who've been announced previously at club meetings and printed in our newsletter are D. Fleary Simmons, Tammy Thayer, and Mark Westover. While we would normally have a voice vote, we still do not have a membership quorum in attendance at our meetings. Therefore, our Rotary office has sent an email with a link to an electronic ballot for today's vote of the 3 new trustees. So please watch for that email in your inbox this afternoon. I also want to mention that Paul Hoffman will automatically begin a 2-year term, and we're looking forward to his service on the Board of Trustees starting July 1. And one more announcement, Ed Fuda was recently selected to complete the unexpired term of Eric Izquierdo, who was unable to complete his term, and will be welcoming Ed to the first trustee meeting later this month. Thank you, Ed, for agreeing to serve on the Board of Trustees as well. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you for your service. We really appreciate that. And now I'd like to invite up Stacy Nemeth, who's a member of our Youth Awards Subcommittee, and she's going to help to introduce the top spellers that are here today. Stacy?
Thanks, President Paul. As Paul said, I'm Stacy Nemeth, and I'm one of our club members, and I am pleased to welcome some very special guests to our meeting. Our club has a long-standing tradition of honoring the top 10 spellers in the All-City Spelling Bee, a tradition that dates back to at least the 1960s. We're happy to continue that tradition today by recognizing some outstanding local students, and we also thank their parents and guests for joining us today. The annual Spelling Bee is sponsored by the Wisconsin State Journal. This year's Wisconsin Spelling Bee coordinator is Holly Marley Henshin. Holly, would you please stand and be recognized for all of your efforts? Thank you for your work behind the scenes in organizing this amazing event for our area students. This year's All-City Spelling Bee was held on February 18th at Madison College. 36 top spellers from public, private, and homeschool associations in Madison participated. This group of students were asked to spell words like edification, indemnity, which I know all you insurance and lawyers out there, you are all super excited that they know that one, and vexatious, which I do not know how to spell nor how to use in a sentence. So it is official, these children are all smarter than me, and that's sad. So now I'd like to actually move on to the important part, which is meeting these top spellers. There are actually 11 students here today because there was a tie for 10th place, so we are thrilled to have 11 students. All of these students should be very proud of their achievements and excellent spelling abilities. As I call each speller's name, please come forward, and as you are being introduced and come on up to the stage, President Paul will greet you, provide you with a small congratulatory gift, and the top 3 spellers will also receive a plaque. As your student comes forward, we'd like the parents or guests attending with that student to stand briefly as your student is introduced, and then you can be seated as we move forward to the next student. So let's get started meeting these amazing young folks. First, we have Vincent Bautista, an 8th grader from St. Maria Goretti Catholic School. Next, Anya DeWald, an 8th grader from Cherokee Heights Middle School. Hugh Downey, a 7th grader from St. Denis School. Kelsey Henderson, an 8th grader from Georgia O'Keeffe Middle School. Ava Kramer, a 7th grader from Jefferson Middle School. Arnav Nandanwar, an 8th grader from Spring Harbor Middle School. Pratham Sangzavi, a 4th grader from Paul Olson Elementary School. Caitlin Starkenberg, an 8th grader from Holy Cross Lutheran School. Molly Abel, a 7th grader at Our Lady Queen of Peace School, took 3rd place this year. Jay Jajav, a 6th grader at Eagle School, was this year's runner-up. And the winner in this year's spelling bee for the 2nd year in a row is Aiden Wijaya Kulasuria. Sorry, Aiden, who is a 7th grader at Blessed Sacrament School. I just happened to speak with one of Aiden's early elementary school teachers today and said I was going to be introducing him. And she said, you know what? I thought he was smarter than me in like 2nd grade. So Mrs. Leland says thank you and congratulations. So each of the top 3 spellers will be competing in the Badger State Spelling Bee on March 11th, and we wish them well in this upcoming competition. It is always our pleasure to host these amazing scholars every year and their guests at Rotary. So please, let's give them all a final round of applause.
Maybe turn to the side a little bit if you don't mind, there a little bit. There you go. Get a little bit more closer. A little turn to the side with, there you go. There you go.
You guys this way. You guys this way.
There we go.
Great spellers.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Go back to your chair. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good work, you guys. Thanks. Thanks for being here. Oops. Congratulations to these top spellers on their accomplishment. Anyway, if I would have read ahead in my script, it would have said, hey, the speller should come up for a picture at the very end. But since I didn't read ahead in my script, then I missed that. But I will invite up Ashley Quinto-Powell, who chairs our club's engagement subcommittee, and she's going to come up for an announcement. Ashley? I'm over here. Oh, there she is. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be up at the podium. First of all, congratulations. Like my son might say, those kids seem like a bunch of smart fellers or fart smellers or great spellers. There we go. Yep, the funny gene runs all the way through my family. So I actually am on the lookout for connectors and very enthusiastic extroverts to join me in more connection throughout the club. So now that we are meeting in person, we have been for a while. I know I'm not the only one who's bonkers excited to get back at having coffee with more Rotarians. So I've asked that we reinstate 11:15 coffee connections every week. So I know what you are thinking. Howdy boy, I cannot wait to join you for coffee at 11:15 every Wednesday. So join me for that. And then if you do identify as a connector and an enthusiastic extrovert, I need your help in having more connection with new members, old members, not old members, seasoned members, tenured members. I'm 40, so that makes me very young in the club. Anyway, I hope you'll join me both for being part of a connection committee and for coffee every Wednesday at 11:15. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And now I'll invite up Janine O'Rourke, who chairs our Rotary Youth Exchange Committee, and she's going to come up to make an announcement. Janine?
Committed to building community through global awareness and understanding, we challenge teens globally to step outside of their comfort zone and expand their worldview by entering a new one. Hosted by supportive families, young people are given the opportunities to explore new locations, immerse themselves in a different way of life, and create impact in regions far from home, all while forming lasting relationships. And making countless memories. Returning home with endless stories to share. Because a moment can be the experience that lasts a lifetime. Rotary Youth Exchange. Find out more at rotary.org/youthexchange.
So I hope that inspired some of our spelling bee students to think about it in a couple of years. But what I want to come to you today and tell you is Youth Exchange restarted last July, and it started with the summer exchange program, and then in August we welcomed into our district 17 exchange students. They have been learning about our great Midwest culture, becoming fluent in English, and growing as global citizens. I've had the honor to serve on the District Youth Exchange Committee as the chair for these 17 inbounds. It's been an intense 9 months restarting the program, but I can confidently say that it is running unbelievably smooth in our post-COVID world. Our club also, if you can go to the next slide, is currently sponsoring Riley Durkee as an exchange student to a city about an hour south of Santiago. She's been there since August and having a fantastic experience. It's been really fun to watch her posts and see how she's grown as a student. And now we are preparing to welcome into our club this August an inbound student. From where? We don't know yet, but this is where we need your help, because we need to identify 3 host families that are within the Madison School District, and we really need to get that first host family's application processed in the next couple of weeks. We had someone, and then a family situation came up, and so we're a little bit in a crunch right now. And you might think, I don't have the perfect family to be a host family, but it really, first of all, it's only a 4-month commitment because they have 3 host families through the school year. They don't need their own bedroom, they need their own bed. So just if you consider maybe welcoming someone into your family, or if you can't, maybe within your network, think of someone to reach out to. We have in the Madison area, let's see, Sun Prairie, Wanakee, Stoughton, Oregon, Mount Horeb, Lodi, and then also Madison After Hours and Madison Breakfast, all hosting someone this coming August, and in the same situation, looking for host families. So if that is something that you would consider, please stop by and let Sharon or Pat or Jane know. I guess Sharon's now retired, so let us know so that we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. I really appreciate your leadership, too, of this important committee, so thank you for that. And now I'd like to invite up Jason Barron, Arella Estrada, who are going to come up and give us an update on our upcoming Rotary District Conference called TriCon. And that's going to be held in La Crosse later this month. Jason Arelli.
So I've been asked to come up and spell Tricon, so I'm going to try that. T-R-Y, no, it's T-R-I-C-O-M. And Tricon is our annual district conference up in La Crosse, and it starts on April 27th, Thursday, April 27th, with a dinner celebrating our Rotary International Foundation, and continues through Friday and Saturday with speakers and workshops. We even have a service project to pack meals that will be sent to aid the Ukrainians. And we wrap up with the all-important Pints for Polio fundraiser on Saturday night. You're welcome to attend as much and little as the conference as possible. And this year we have some great plenary speakers, Betsy Roselle on drug and alcohol recovery, Claire Richards on young leaders, diversity and equity inclusion, CUNA Mutual's own Angela Russell will be speaking to us. And then we have the district governor from Poland again, who is going to fly in and be at the conference all weekend. I invited Areli up on stage. Areli, you were a brand new member, like only a couple months, right? And attended our conference last year. So you want to share a little bit about your experience?
Hola, hello everyone. Talk about a drive to change the world, right? I think that's what Rotary strives to do, and it's really mission above, service above self. So I went to Tricon, and that's where I met this fantastic person here, Jason. My most favorite part, though, however, was the after party. Hospitality suite party. But anyway, I went there to represent the international committee because Gary told me to do so. But we were really trying to engage other Rotarians to participate in this international project. And I'm just very happy to be part of Rotary. And at Tricon, it was just really such a welcoming community, very with like-minded people. And Rotary Tricon is a great opportunity to be able to engage with other Rotarians across the state. And it's just, you immediately get to bond with other like-minded folks. So I highly encourage you to sign up. I already signed up. I know it's going to be a blast. And on that, I'm going to end it up by saying, Feliz Día Internacional de la Mujer. Happy National Women's Day. And congratulations to all of our spelling bees.
Great job. Thank you, guys. We'll see you up in La Crosse, too. I plan on attending. All right, we've got birthdays to celebrate with a bit of humor or wisdom that complements Rotary's mission. We also encourage members to make a gift to our foundation Community Grants Endowment Fund that represents their age, rounded up to 100, for our Synergy Scholarship Fund. All right, March 5th, Paul Karch. March 10th, Jessica Kasten. March 10th, Kathy Korinski, there we go. Sorry about that, Kathy. March 11th, Valerie Kazimeas. And thank you for helping me celebrate my 91st birthday. Looking forward to being together next year to celebrate my 92nd. That's awesome, Valerie. Whoever Valerie is. And March 11th, Barb Wiley. Thanks to our celebrants for their contributions to the Madison Rotary Foundation, and please join me in wishing them a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. Awesome. Thank you, Elaine. All right, we've got quite a list here of some members in the news. Congratulations to Jason Ilstrup and his wife Rachel on the adoption of a son, Mateo Peter Sadler Ilstrup, whom they welcomed into their family yesterday. So, Moses Altsek was pictured and quoted in an article about business research and its value to business operators, and that was in Business magazine. L.J. Charleston was pictured and quoted in an On Wisconsin magazine article titled, "Into the Unknown, What Will UW-Madison Look Like in the Future?" And Balthazar Deanda Santana was pictured and quoted in Madison 365 article about Latino Academy of Workforce Development's new home. And Cheryl Cato was pictured and quoted in an article in Brava magazine titled, "The Future of Me Too." And Beth Larson has been named one of In Business Magazine's 2023 40 Under 40. Congratulations to Beth. And Oscar Morales was pictured and quoted in several media outlets about the 9th Annual Latino Art Fair held in the Overture Center on March 3rd. So congratulations to all the members out in the news. All right, our speaker today is Kelly Lecker, who was named executive editor of the Wisconsin State Journal last year. She is a Wisconsin native and earned a bachelor's degree in journalism and Spanish from UW-Stevens Point. Kelly considers herself a storyteller at heart and has a love of words, facts, and journalism. She won the 1985 Badger State Spelling Bee Championship. And she says that winning the Badger State Spelling Bee in 1985 at the age of 12 had a huge impact on her life. It's great to have top spellers in our audience today, as Kelly tells us what it's like to be a Badger State Spelling Bee champion. And we look forward to your presentation, Kelly. We've made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way to say thanks for speaking with us today. And I also want to mention that we'll have some Q&A with our speaker as time allows at the end. But please wait for the microphone if you've got a question. And with that, let's welcome Kelly Lecker to the podium. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk about the Spelling Bee program, which is important to the Wisconsin State Journal and, as you just heard, is near and dear to my heart. I want to talk a little bit today about why spelling bees matter. But first, it's great to see all the spellers in the audience. I would challenge you to a bee, but I'm afraid you would beat me, so we're not going to do that today. You're the best spellers in Madison, and you should be really very proud of what you've accomplished. You can't really see this today, but the skills you learn in the bee is going to carry you far into the future, and I'll talk about that a little bit today. And we're excited to host our state spelling bee on Saturday, and thank you again, Holly, for all your work in helping us organize that. So the Scripps Spelling Bee is almost 100 years old. It was started in 1925 by a group of 9 newspapers who wanted to promote literacy, so they decided to start a spelling bee. Scripps' mission is to illuminate pathways to lifelong curiosity and celebrate academic achievement and enrich communities. The State Journal has sponsored and organized both the Madison All-City Bee and the State Spelling Bee since 1949, so we've been involved a very long time. The Spelling Bee really aligns with our mission of promoting community service, promoting literacy, and encouraging lifelong learning. And we're proud to host this every year. If you ever come to the newsroom during National Bee Week, you'll see us all glued to our screens as we watch our speller and cheer them on. It's a real honor to send someone to Washington, D.C. every year. In 1985, I won the Wisconsin State Spelling Bee, as you heard, and the State Journal sponsored the trip for me and my family to go to Washington, D.C., so I could compete in the National Spelling Bee. I look like a baby there, right? I still remember the excitement of getting up on that stage and the butterflies when it was almost my turn to spell. When I watch the bees today, I can feel the relief when spellers get a word that they know and sense the alarm when they're given an unfamiliar one. And to this day, the sound of a bell gives me shivers. So 36 7 years after I competed in the National Bee, the State Journal called and hired me to be its executive editor. And that's a great story for the paper to tell. It's a great story for me to tell. But my path back to Wisconsin was not entirely accidental. My participation in the spelling bee sparked my love of words, encouraged a study habit that carried me through high school and college, and gave me the determination to get to this point in my career. There's an obvious path from spelling to writing to journalism, but the skills I learned during the spelling bee really can help a student no matter what career is eventually chosen. So trust me, this will help you out. Spelling bees are really memorable experiences. I recently had the honor of judging the adult spelling bee in Mount Horeb. If you haven't gone, it's a lot of fun, a lot of hooting and hollering in that spelling bee. And a lot of spellers said they could still remember the words that they lost on when they were in grade school. So if I asked the spellers here why they wanted to join the spelling bee, I'm guessing a lot of them would either say my mom made me do it, which is fine, or that they want to win. They wanted to win the state spelling bee. They want to compete in the national spelling bee. And those are great goals. But I'm here to tell you what you're likely to get out of this that you can't yet see. So the first step in preparing for the bee is to study the words. Get a list of words that are often used in the school bee or the regional bee. And this involves a lot of memorization. So you might ask, why is memorization a valuable skill when you can just Google anything you need to know these days? But all of you can tell me what 8 times 7 is, right? And as you're thinking of 56, you didn't have to calculate that in your head or look at multiplication tables. You already knew it. And anyone who's my age or older used mnemonic devices, I'm guessing, to memorize the order of the planets or to spell arithmetic. A rat in the house may eat the ice cream. That was drilled into me in 2nd grade. So those facts all form a basis for future learning and knowledge. And learning to efficiently memorize is a skill unto itself. In fact, studies have shown that memorization habits build a person's base of facts that they use to do effective analyzation. One study showed that an important link between memorization and good critical thinkers. A study published in 1946 showed that the reason that expert chess players choose better moves than weaker players isn't that they're better at analytical thinking. Instead, they draw on this vast knowledge of typical chess positions that they've acquired through memorizing them. So the next step is to take these words and study the common elements among them. All the spellers here know what I'm talking about. And there's a real science to this. It involves studying word origin and meanings. For example, words with a Spanish origin that have an A sound are most likely spelled with an E, like escuela. In Latin, the U sound, that as in school, is almost always spelled with a U and not 2 O's. And the letter K is pretty rare in Latin, so it means that a K sound is probably spelled with a C and not a K or a CK. And if you watch these spellers as they ask for the word origin, the part of speech, the definition, the use in a sentence, you can see them breaking down the word parts in their head. And some of them even write it in their hand or in the air. And while a lot of times when we analyze things, we have 10 minutes, an hour, a week, they really have a minute to decipher all of this. And in that short time, they're able to make an informed choice about how the word is spelled. And those quick deductions are based on the information that they've studied. The reasoning and deduction is a valuable skill in all sorts of professions, journalism, of course, but also engineering, medicine, and law. And the great part about this is almost always this word study often kindles interest in reading and writing. And we need that more than ever. I don't have to tell anyone in this room how valuable writing skills are in any profession, from emails to reports to grant proposals. And schools are really struggling with reading achievement gaps right now. In the latest national report cards, reading scores dropped in half of the states, 25 states. And in Wisconsin, only 33% of fourth graders and 32% of eighth graders were proficient in reading. And racial disparities exist. In the latest Forward exam, only 45% of white students scored proficient or advanced in English at language arts portion. Among Black students, that number was 10%, and among Hispanic students, it was 21%. So you can see why anything we can do to promote the love of words and reading is so important right now. And in the spelling bee, students learn words pertaining to arts, science, and more, and that really helps them gain an interest in these topic areas. The National Spelling Bee has added a vocabulary portion that tests spellers on the meaning of words. That means spellers have to also study the word definitions, and they really benefit from that increased vocabulary, although I would argue that the students, as they're learning these words, have always had an interest in word meaning and vocabulary. And if you get to see, if you get a chance during Bee Week on TV to see the interviews with the national spellers, you'll see a real curiosity there, a curiosity about language and travel, and they're just really well-rounded students. And this is, oh, sorry. No, I think I messed it up. Okay. So in the last benefit I'm going to talk about, and perhaps to me it's one of the most important, is confidence. It's a really brave thing to get up on a stage with your parents watching and under time pressure, and in the National Bee is broadcast on national television, and to try to spell each word. This experience gives young people exposure to public speaking. It increases their confidence and teaches them how to perform under pressure. And I would even argue that in like any competition, there's a value in learning what it means to not always win, but to be proud of what you accomplished. Incidentally, I also learned a sense of humor through the spelling bee because when I lost the national spelling bee, my parents were going to take me out to lunch to console me, and when we walked outside, a big bird pooped on my head, which my parents think is hilarious. When I won the spelling bee, I was the 4th student in 6 years from my tiny school in Bondwell to win the state spelling bee. So there was a lot of fanfare around it. They had a town parade and a school assembly and newspaper articles and TV and letters from legislators and mayors. They even put signs on the edge of town declaring it the spelling bee capital of Wisconsin. And actually, those signs stayed up until about 3 years ago, and it's like something else now. The National Spelling Bee is broadcast on national television. The winner appears on the Today Show and in national papers. There's a real pride, and it's all about academic success. And the more we can celebrate academic success, the better off these students will be. There's a newspaper article from when I won the bee, and in a giant pull-out quote, it says, "I never thought I'd be so important." And my family and friends have spent many, many years teasing me about that. But if I'm being honest, the 12-year-old me really meant that. Honoring a kid from Cecil, Wisconsin, which is a town of 373 people, just does not happen. What strikes me today is that there was all this tension and celebration, and that's a great message to send to young people. I grew up on a dairy farm, and we really didn't have the time or money to travel. So for me, outside of a couple trips to Six Flags Great America, it was the first time outside of Wisconsin, and the first time anyone in my family had been on an airplane. My mom got to visit the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and honor her late brother. It was such an incredible experience. We had a chance to visit the White House, the Capitol, the museums, and Mount Vernon. I met some incredible friends along the way who were also competing in the National Bee. And all the way from the school bee to the national, I made friends that I kept in touch with for years. And that sense of community can really not be understated. So spellers, congratulations on your achievement. I would urge you as you compete in future bees to remember to enjoy the journey you're on and the people around you. You won't regret it. And if you can succeed among the best spellers in the country, you can do so many things. I'm really excited to see where you're going to go from here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Larry Hans. I'm wondering, what's the future of local news and good journalism in this state of the nation? How does the Wisconsin State Journal make lots of money so it can thrive?
That is a great question. Not related to spelling, but I'll take it. No, we do. We are doubling down on local journalism, and we're focusing more on our digital efforts and our digital advertising so we can produce all the good news that you're used to seeing. And one of the things that we're focusing on this year and next year is also community service. I think the more we are part of the community, the more you all will support us, right? So we support the Spelling Bee, which very few papers sponsor anymore. We do the Empty Stocking Club and Helping Hands, and you'll really see us a lot more out in the community, and hoping in return you'll support us too.
How about 8 great editorial cartoons?
Yes, more editorial cartoons.
We have a question here.
You said everyone remembers the word that they went out on. What was the word you won the Badger State Spelling Bee on?
Thank you for asking me that, because no one ever asked me what I won on. They only asked me what I lost on. So I won the spelling bee on the word apolostic. Anyone want to take a shot at it?
What does it mean?
It means the love of having fun. Go ahead, Susan. Yeah? Close. It's APOLAUSTIC. Yes. And because the next question is going to be why I lost on it, was knout, which is also pronounced newt, which is KNOUT. It's always the one-syllable words that get you.
Excuse me. Thank you. I will grab the mic. Can you spell plenipotentiary? No, just kidding. Can you say something about the role of the parents? We have some wonderful parents here in the success of these students.
Yes, thank you for asking. I have watched parents as we both sponsor the bee and I participated in the bee, and truly that's where all the support comes from. My parents gave me the time and space to study for the bee. They supported me. I have a very vivid memory of my dad running onto the stage when I won the spelling bee. He was so proud. And I think that support and encouragement of just learning and studying is critical to the speller's success. A quick story about my dad. When we got to the spelling bee, it was the national spelling bee. It was clear I was not going to win. Those kids were super smart. And so my dad said, hey, maybe you should just concentrate on having fun this week. And that's a valuable lesson, too. I got 38th out of 168, so not embarrassed by it, but did not win. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for speaking with us today and filling in for us. I really appreciate that. And what a great message for our students. So thank you for being here for that. And once again, congratulations to all the spellers that are here today. And do we still want to have their photo up in front at all, Jane? What do you think? Okay, so all the spellers, if you could join us up front here at the very end, we'll do a picture if we could do that. And then I do want to invite you next week when we're going to hear from Patricia McConnell, who has titled her speech, Treat Everyone Like a Dog. So I think that's going to be fantastic. And I just want to say, don't forget about our Rotary Youth Exchange, that if you do have a spot in your home, we are looking for some home families. And thank you for being here today. And with that, we are adjourned.